buying off of this price. We'd made some nice swings to the upside. We'd a failed auction, that's one thing. We'd taken our money, remember, at 16s. We told you that. We'd taken our money at 16s. We'd been long at 145.03s, off a bottom edge from settlement into the bottom edges, right? So we had that settlement at the bottom edge. We were aware of that. We'd already taken profits at that price before. Now, as I said, one of the key aspects is just looking at what the 2s, 10s guys are going to be doing. Now, there is a 5s, 2s, 5s relationship for this, but as I said, we haven't covered that yet in the classroom, the relationship between the 2s, 5s, and 5s, 10s. So we'll do that in classroom today. But the things we have covered are the absolutes. Now, just the absolutes in isolation, what would you have done based purely on the absolutes? Well, if you look at what happened just before the numbers, we had obviously seen this very, very nice, very strong drive, which completely took out the prior highs here. So by rights, we've already put that into our knowledge bank, haven't we? We've already got that knowledge, which tells me that the bond is currently overpriced, because by rights, on that absolute curve right there, at that stage, now obviously it's not at that stage when we made the decision, but at that stage, the bond price should be trading somewhere around about maybe 29s, 30s. So we're already looking at a trade that has maybe about 7 or 8 ticks of premium built into it, coming into the numbers. Now obviously if the touch spread is way ahead of this, then the chances of us getting a trade on this are limited, because nobody trades the absolutes. People trade the touch spread though. So the challenge we've now got is to investigate this trade against the touch spread and see if the touch spread guys have any desire to be dealing into this number. Well, there you go. Is that not significant? The touch spread was massively discounted against the absolutes, yes or no? Well, you tell me, guys. I mean, I know what it was. I know what I took. I showed you what I took. I took a screenshot of what we took on NinjaTrader for you, so you could see that that's what we took. That's what we were shouting before the data came out as well. We said the touch spread seems to be very, very, very bullish, very big buy opportunity. Well, we can already recognize that this absolutes here was not reflected in the touch spread. It was nowhere near being reflected in the touch spread. So you can see that the touch spread is a few ticks off the bottom edge. The absolutes is in the top half of that spike higher. So in my world, what's going to happen there is very, very straightforward. There's going to be a lot of touch spread buyers. And if I see that, my simple, easy to recognize read, there's a lot of touch spread buyers. They reckon that this market's going to be bearish. They reckon this is going to be a sell on bonds. And obviously we took a screenshot to show you what we then made of that narrative, and that's exactly what we did. We sold into the bond at that stage, and you can see from the screenshot that's exactly what we were looking for. And you can see the price, it was 145.08, which is obviously a wholesale price. So you can see what we were seeing in that area. We were starting to look at that pop at 10s, and we started to sell 8s, right? So we started to work the 8s into that storyline ahead of the numbers. Now, obviously, it was important that we got a trade on, because I wanted to be able to talk to you about this since we covered it in classroom yesterday. We wanted to talk to you guys about this idea. So it was important that we took a play on this. Now, if we didn't have a play, we still wouldn't have had a play, but we had a very, very obvious play. As far as I'm concerned, and that's, as far as I'm concerned, it's a very obvious play. So obviously the sell at 8s, and obviously the takeaway from the spike was brilliant. I mean, it traded 8s. I mean, it went 145.08s to 144.08s on the spike itself for $1,000 per contract, and that was it. We just said, okay, fine. Because what happened? The touch spread exploded and the absolute diverged. So we walked away, we took the profit, and we said, thank you. That's what happened. The touch spread diverged against the absolutes, and basically the touch spread has became a sell trade, which means a buy bottom edge bond. Now, we're not at a bottom edge bond, so I haven't been buying into the bottom edges. But when you see this, you'll also get a storyline coming from this, from the 2s, 5s, 5s, 10s. But as I said, I don't want to touch that storyline until until we actually get into Classroom today, because obviously it involves a little bit of explanation, because we haven't really dealt with that narrative before. And we want to deal with that narrative. We want to have a little chat about that 2's 5's 5's 10's relationship before we start trying to break down what happened on the trade here. Then we can break down what happened on the trade, which verified what this trade was. And that's the important thing, Jack. It wasn't just this line that took the trade. It wasn't just this storyline that was getting us into that sell. We could actually look at other pieces of the curve and make the same decision. And that's what's important, because sometimes one piece of the curve bubbles away, and sometimes we get this idea that the evidence comes from things like the fly trade as well. So that's what we'll do in Classroom. It was a great trade. It was a lovely outcome. As I said, it was important that we got the trade on so that we could show you what we were doing. You know, we can't do anything other than that. We can just show you what we were doing. But it was also important that we did it without necessarily telling you what we were doing, because it's important that you guys see it for yourself. It's all right you nodding your head and saying, yes, 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 I see that, I see that, I see that. But I wanted to make sure you did it on your own. And the question is, how many people made the same read? How many people put the demo trade on? And if you did, fire in a screenshot of the demo trade. Fire in a screenshot of the demo trade that you put on. Let's see what price you got. And if nobody puts in that, obviously that suggests that nobody actually had the confidence to take that bit of business, right? So that's an important lesson, again, and a lesson that if you didn't trade it, at least you've now had an idea about why we took the trade. And we'll obviously, as I said, we'll dive a little bit deeper into that as a storyline about why that trade was so good. Why was it so good? What made it better as we started to evolve that storyline? Well, the data is obviously an important piece of data, that's for sure. So we already know we should be trying to get that trade on. We know we should be trying to play that bit of business. And it's important that we do get that type of trade on. Now, as I said, if you've got no intention of ever trading the news, okay, that's okay. But you should still at least know what it is. You should still at least get the idea. I don't care whether you have an intention of trading it or not. The idea is what I'm looking for. And as I said, that's why we said put it on a demo account, because it forces you to make the call. Even though it's a demo account, it's still in hard paper, right? If I got that trade wrong, I wouldn't be able to show you a sell that made a lot of money, right? I couldn't do it. You can't backdate your trade, right? You can't backdate your trade. It's there. It is what it is. So that's why the demo account allows you to formalize, I am a seller. I am going to take that short sell on a demo account. Because of that reason, you make a commitment to your trade. You've done the analysis. You've put the trade on. You've got the right price. And then you can either say we got it, or you can say we didn't get it. As simple as that. We got it, or we didn't get it. As it transpires, we the guys on the S&P, we were asked the question, what are the guys on the S&P doing into the numbers? We told you that they were selling the S&P into the numbers. So the prop guys, predominantly short on the numbers. They did very well, of course, a very, very big profit for the prop shorts. Paul asked the question, what were they doing going into the numbers? We told you they were selling the S&P, and we told you that they were buying. Remember, we said that they just started to buy the oil. Well, the oil in the numbers actually did drop, but then popped immediately off the swing low at 71.80, traded 72.90s off the swing low, and the buyers got a big buy reversal off of that pop, all the way through that bracket target. So that was good. Since then, it's drifted. I mean, obviously, the storylines behind the dollar, you're not going to be able to hold on to your long oil trades, are you? So a lot of you would have had a very good chance to maybe sell some oil top edges. Did you get it? That big switcheroo on the dollar, that big bid on the dollar that came in on the spike, and you're thinking to yourself, on that spike, my goodness, I like that storyline. Well, if you took a spike, you made your monies, didn't you? You made your monies. Nobody? Paul? Paul got it? So you can see what happened here. The dollar flipped big style on the spike. And when the dollar flipped big style on the spike, you're looking at that and saying, my goodness, that looks a little bit extreme. And you didn't just have one sell, you didn't actually have to gamble on the way up because you had a retest here to allow you to get the short sell on to that dollar offer. And you've been able to swing it for, for $1,300, which is pretty damn rootin' tootin' good in terms of dollar swings. So a great trade, another $1,000, another $1,400 for the oil sellers at the top edges. And again, narratives change, don't they? Narratives change. The shape of this, I liked the buy trade initially. I liked what the trade was. I agreed with that buy trade in that phase, and we got a very good buy side pop, but the sell was obvious as well. The sell was obvious as well. Top line, prior highs already on the charts. There it is there, prior highs already on the charts. Easy to see it, easy to try and take the trade on against that dollar narrative. And a good takeaway from it, a good enough takeaway from it.